Hi everyone, this is Janelle from the customer success team at Funnel, and today I wanted to show you a little bit more about how to navigate the Data Explorer. So we would recommend using the Data Explorer as a pivot table for Q&A analysis. There are two main use cases for the Data Explorer. The first one being is to make sure that the data that you're importing from platforms such as Facebook ads and Google ads, that the data that you see within those platforms are matching what you see within Funnel. And then the second use case being when you create custom fields, such as custom metrics and dimensions, that the values, that the rules that you create for those fields are outputting what you would like them to be. So you can find the Data Explorer on the left-hand side here. And then I've already pulled in a couple of fields, as you can see. So if you would like to include additional fields, you would just click on Choose Fields. And over here, you can see the custom ones. So these are either ones that Funnel created or you or someone on your team created. And then if you scroll a little bit further down, you can find platform-specific fields. So as you can see, you have a bunch of options. If you see that they're crossed out, usually that means that that field was deprecated, but feel free to click on this little triangle here for more information on why it's crossed out. But here is where you will find all of the fields that are currently included in your workspace. So say we wanted to include clicks, country name, and impressions. So as you can see, the country name was added under the dimension section and clicks and impressions were added under the metrics. If you don't want them to be split off by dimensions and metrics, you can just click on that. But if you would like them split off, then you can keep it as is. You can also move them around. So if you find that you want to view, the campaign next to the country name, you can just move that up and down. You can also remove them from the view. So when you click on this little trash can here, it doesn't mean that you're removing it from your entire workspace. It's just removing it from this Data Explorer view. You can also get a little bit more information on what those fields entail if you hover over the eye. And then you can also do additional filtering if you're just looking at metrics or just looking at dimensions, but we would usually recommend just using the search field name. So now we can go ahead and load that data. And there you have it. As you can see, the country name was pulled in and clicks and impressions were pulled in as well. We also have some additional filters over here. So if you wanted to have the data from all data sources be pulled into this, then you can just keep it as this. You can also choose to do bring in data from specific data source types. So as you can see, all of the ones that you have data sources configured for will appear. And then you can also do data source specific data. And then you can choose the date range here. So you can do last 7 days, last month. You can also pick specific dates here. You also have different options here. So last full 90 days or last 6 months, last 12 months, year to date, so on and so forth. You can also do some comparisons. So you can do the previous period, the previous year with the same date, previous year with same weekday, or you can do a custom period to compare to. We can just leave ours in the last full 30 days. And then you can add additional filters here. So say if you wanted the traffic source to just be Google, for example, you can include that. Or if you wanted the country name to only be France, you can include those additional filters. You can do the same for metrics, and you can also limit the number of rows. So if you find that you're loading data and it's taking a while because there's so many rows, but you kind of get the general gist of the general trend, then you can go ahead and limit the amount of rows to however many you would like. So if we load this, now you can see that only the traffic source for Google and the country name is coming up for France. And then you can also choose the currency that you would like this data to come up as. You can do the original currency that the specific data sources were configured in, or you can do a converted currency. So over here, you'll have all of the currencies that are currently included in your workspace. We would usually recommend doing a converted currency just to make sure that everything's kind of normalized and standardized across all of the different platforms. But if you're working with maybe just one data source or one campaign, then you can feel free and use the original one, but completely up to you. And then once the data loads, you can also do additional filtering. So if you click on the header, you can sort ascending, descending, or you can completely remove the field over here from this view. And then you can filter by condition. So if you know that the campaign contains or doesn't contain, starts with, ends with, so on and so forth, you can include that filter there. If you just want to see the data for one specific campaign, you can clear all. Say if I just wanted to see it for this generic fashion one, I just click that and it's automatically filtered. You'll see the little funnel there if it's filtered, and it'll just filter it on that specific campaign. You can also just click on that specific field here, and you can filter on this value, or you can add columns that were used to calculate the specific field. Let me remove that filter really quick. And then for metrics, you can do the same. You can sort ascending, descending, or you can remove that specific field, and you can do greater than and less than as well. If you do want to edit any specific dimension or metric, you have a shortcut right here. So instead of, if you find that it's not outputting the values that you would like that specific field to output, and you would like to kind of go in and edit the rules, instead of going into the dimensions and metrics tab and doing it from there, you have a little shortcut here where you can go ahead and edit the rules. Same thing with dimensions. You can just go ahead and click that and it'll take you over to that specific field to edit. And then going up here, if you find that there's a specific set of fields that you constantly go into Data Explorer and visualize all together, then instead of constantly having to choose those fields, you can just create a view. So for example, if I always find myself visualizing these specific fields, then I can just save as new. And then for this example, I can just say Google France, save this, and then it'll save that as a view. So you'll have it listed here. And when you go into Data Explorer, you can just click into it and it'll load all of the fields. And then you can also create a view directly from scratch. So if you go here, you can choose to do cross-platform or single platform or custom views. And then you can also choose any templates that you would like. You can choose which fields you would like. And then you would choose the currency. So feel free to play around with this from scratch. And then you also have the ability to do a one-time manual export. So if you wanted to download these specific fields as a CSV or TSV or Excel file, you can go ahead and do that. You can also export to Google Sheets. Now, if you want to export these as a data share to a specific destination, so say, for example, Google Looker Studio, then you can just take the shortcut here and create a data share from the specific view. We also have the ability to visualize this data in different charts. So we have the ability to do line charts, such as this. As you can see right now, it's impressions, but you can go between cost and clicks. And you can also do week and month. You can also do bar charts. So if you're more of a visual person, feel free to include that in your Data Explorer views. And then lastly, you can also use Funnel AI. So for example, if you have a question such as how are impressions and costs doing over time, instead of having to click into it and do it yourself, you can just go ahead and ask Funnel AI. And it'll pull up that data for you. So you'll be able to see it right off the bat, how impressions are doing over time. So that's it for the Data Explorer. If you have any further questions, please feel free to reach out to our support team at support@funnel.io or through our in-app chat, and we'd be happy to help. Thank you. Bye.